Part 1, December 5th, 2010 to January 27th, 2011. Chapter 1, Abbottabad, Pakistan, December 5th, 2010, 0821 hours local time. The beggar was nervous. You couldn't tell by looking, but he was. Still, he maintained his rounds. He wheeled himself onto the short street just off Narayan Link Road right after morning prayers at the Sakun Mosque. The shops were opening. He made his way up to the sidewalk tables in front of the tea room just the way he always did. He smiled. "Good morning, brother," through broken, stained teeth at Wasim, the tea room proprietor, and accepted gratefully the tiny cup of sweet, dark, steaming brew that Wasim offered him whenever he showed up. Sometimes in the morning, sometimes later. Wasim rubbed his balding head. He admired the beggar. After all, the beggar was Mujahideen. He was even aptly named Shahid, a fighter who had lost both his legs and most of 4 of his fingers when the detested Americans had hit his Waziristan compound with a missile from one of their armed Predator unmanned aerial vehicles that killed Muslims without regard to their guilt or innocence. Shahid had come to Abbottabad a little over a month ago. From Peshawar, he'd said, and before that Waziristan. On his way to Islamabad. It wasn't far. Maybe he'd get there someday, God willing, to collect the money he was owed by the government. Those westernized thieves. Judging from the rough Urdu-tinged accent, Wasim figured the beggar was originally from up north, the rugged, harsh mountains close to the Afghan border. Someplace like Drosh or Chitral. Places the government, Wasim considered the president and most of the government bureaucrats in Islamabad to be puppets of the detested Americans, was afraid to go. They grew them tough up there in the northwest, thin-air jihadis who could carry 60, 70 kilos on their backs all day, humping up and down the passes like mountain sheep. God's warriors, who extracted a good price from the infidels, and sometimes paid one, too. "A sweet, Brother Shahid?" Wasim always asked. You didn't want to offend someone who'd put his life on the line defending Islam against evildoers. The beggar set down the 2 lengths of wood he used to push the padded furniture dolly on which he traveled. "God bless you, Brother Wasim." "And you, Brother Shahid." Wasim excused himself and returned almost immediately with a pastry, dripping honey sitting on a small rectangle of thin waxed tissue. He stood there in his shirt sleeves, pulled a well-used handkerchief out of his rear pocket, and wiped his forehead as if it were summer as he watched the beggar stuff the treat into his mouth with ruined finger stubs, then wipe his lips with a ragged tunic sleeve. "Are you well?" The beggar shrugged and sipped tea. "As well I can be, thanks to God." He emptied the cup and, using both hands, offered it back to Wasim. The beggar looked around conspiratorially. "There were strangers here yesterday. I saw them by the Bibi Amna Mosque." "Yes," Wasim nodded. 4 of them in army uniforms. Captains, from Islamabad, I think. He paused. "Visiting the military academy from the look of them." "God be praised." The beggar picked up his sticks. "I always wanted to go to military school." He tapped his rag-wrapped stumps with one of them. "But God has other uses for me." "God be praised." The beggar sighed. "God be praised." And then he swiveled, pushed off, and foot by foot wheeled himself down the street to the corner by the Iqbal Market, where he sat for an hour, sometimes more, his back up against the wall, his wooden bowl in front of him, collecting alms and intelligence. It was the strangers who'd snagged the beggar's tripwire, made him more than slightly nervous. They were Pashto speakers. Accents? Islamabad, the beggar thought. Maybe. Nah, better than maybe. But officers visiting the Pakistan Military Academy? No fricking way. These guys didn't walk or talk like soldiers. They were intel professionals.